Hello and welcome to the Footy with Fletch podcast. This is episode 8 of the Footy with Fletch podcast. Today's special guest is former Richmond Tigers superstar Jake Batchelor. He played at Richmond between 2011 and 2017. Jake joins us on the podcast today. Good morning, Jake.
G'day, Fletch. Thanks for having me, mate. How you going?
I'm very well, thanks. Thank you for joining the program. So I guess what would have been the greatest life lesson that you would have learnt with playing football?
There's probably a few. I don't know where to start, really. When you're in the system, you just go, and you just do what you're expected of, and it's not really until you're out of the system as a player for a little bit of time that you get to look back and with a bit of hindsight and realise some things that really stood out. But a couple for me that I've started to notice with coaching young kids as well is figuring out that you need to figure out what you need to do. Whether that's doing extra physical stuff, whether it's extra doing mental stuff. It's just trying to find what you're good at and making it better, I guess, rather than just sticking to what the program requires or the coaching staff require. It's just digging a little bit deeper, and it took me probably a little while to figure out that in my career, and then by that stage it was probably a little bit too late. But with these younger guys coming through, it's a really good chance for them to identify some areas that they are good at already, and then really finding a way to increase that.
Yeah, so of course you are a development coach at St Kilda. How has the role been and what has it entailed?
Yeah, so I've been at St Kilda since the end of 2018, so the 2019 season and 2020 season. The first year was good fun. It was a bit finding your feet, and it was my first year not being a player, but being in an AFL system. And it's a bit different as a player. You know what you're doing for every single minute from 7:30 a.m. till 3-4 o'clock each day for the next 7 days. It's planned out for you. So prioritising and identifying what needs to be done without getting someone to do that for you was a bit of a challenge at first, but something that I worked into pretty easily with some good support around me. But basically the role of a development coach is as simple as it sounds. It's just develop the young kids into as good a people as you can, and then increase their football ability and knowledge at the same time. So there's a development program at each club, I'm sure, but ours was just pretty big on get the people in to become good people, and then the footy will come from there.
So it definitely sounds like an interesting role. Who would have been the biggest influence on your coaching career? So who would have been someone that would have mentored you and assisted you with your coaching role at St Kilda?
Yeah, so I had a year between playing and coaching, and in that year I moved back down to Frankston, which is where I've grown up, and I played for Frankston Dolphins in the VFL. And the head coach there, Adam Scrobelak, was a part-time coach at St Kilda, and basically he said, "We'll get you to play a year and coach a year at Frankston, and we'll get you one day at Saints, just as coaching, just one day volunteer, just learn the ropes and how things go from the other side of it." So yeah, Adam Scrobelak's been really important for me and my growth as a coach. So he's now full time there as their midfield coach. So I bounce a lot of ideas off him and vice versa, him to me. So we've been really close for the last two and a half years. So on a coaching side of you, he's been really good for me, and one that I'm very grateful for to get me into the coaching industry.
Yeah, he definitely sounds like a great mentor. I guess now, who would have been a AFL player with your time at Richmond that would have helped and influenced your career, and who would have been your closest mate at the Richmond Football Club?
I played with some really good players who have obviously now turned into multiple premiership players. But Alex Rance was obviously the best player and one of the best mentors. He was really smart and understood the game and challenged everyone to get the best out of themselves. I've also Troy Chaplin was very good in my early years. He came over from Port Adelaide, and when someone so mature and experienced as him comes into your career as a footy player, you tend to just listen and take in whatever they say. And together, him and Rancy were really good in that terms. They were both very different people, but they looked at the game a little bit differently and complemented each other well. But my best mate, and still who I'm good friends with now, I don't always get to see him very often, but I was really, really close with Nick Floston. So yeah, that was a good relationship while we're at the footy club, and we still keep in touch on a regular basis. This COVID stuff hasn't helped at all, but that was good while we're there.
Yeah, they Rancy, Chaplin, and Nick Floston are definitely some great players from the Richmond Football Club. Did you always want to be an AFL player, Jake?
Good question. I don't think so. I grew up playing just because that's what everyone did. I started when I was 9. I didn't do Auskick from a young age, so it was more of a social thing for me. And then as you get older, you start to make some rep teams or some TAC Cup development squads, and then it actually starts to get put in your mind from other people as well that footy career might be a bit of an option for you. And probably not until my 18th year when I was playing for the Stingrays in 2010 was probably when it actually probably clicked that I might actually be able to, and then it went from there. Didn't really have any. I was never one to grow up always wanting to be an AFL player, but extremely grateful that it turned out that way for the time that it did.
Yeah, you are very lucky because, of course, there are a lot of people that aspire to be AFL players. What was it like running onto the MCG for the first time in your debut season against Carlton in 2011? What was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, I remember it well. There was 63,000 people there. It was a very, very good experience. We had there was 5 debutants for the club, so there was myself, Reece Conker, Brad Helbig, were all the draftees, and then we got Sean Grigg and Basher Hooley come across from 2 different clubs, and we all debuted for Richmond on the same night. So that was really good. It was a long pre-match because we had 5 jumpers to present. It was a great experience. We didn't get the win, but that didn't really matter for a young bloke who just was getting his first game. It was just get out there, take it all in, enjoy it, and if you win even better. But no, it was a great experience and one you don't forget.
Yeah, definitely would have been very special making your AFL debut. Of course, you were nominated for the Rising Star Award. What was going through your mind when you were nominated for the Rising Star Award?
Yeah, I can't really remember, but I don't think I had a very good game. I think it was against Essendon, maybe around 16 or something like that. I think they must have run out of people who they could give it to, so they just gave it to me. But I put together a fairly decent first year of football, so maybe it was just a bit of a weight of numbers of a couple of good games early on, and then they thought may as well give it to him. But at the end of the year, when you go to the Rising Star Awards at the end of the year and you see all these really, really good young players come through, and then you're just sitting there with your family, it was quite strange. But no, it was a great award, and was humbled to win it for that week.
Yeah, you were very lucky, and you did have a fantastic first AFL season. What was it like being part of the rebuild of the Richmond Football Club to the dynasty that we currently see? So, of course, you would have watched the rise from when they were down the bottom of the ladder to where they are today. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was very noticeable, but it wasn't a lot of things changing. It was just, it was a lot of things changing. It wasn't big things changing. It was just lots of little things just happening, and just just from start of pre-season, just got a few different people in, different roles, different people with different personalities. But no, we weren't away from it for the previous 3 or 4 years. We had 3 years when we were building and we made finals each year. It was well documented that, didn't win any finals, but 16 was a bit of a blimp in the radar. But, just got some really good people in, and then just decided to have a bit of fun for 2017. Just release the shackles a little bit, not just on the field, but off the field. Go have a bit of fun, get to know everyone a little bit better, and build the connection with your teammates, with your coaches. And then, things just fell into place in 17. And as everyone can see from now, what they've turned it into, it's a bloody good business that they're in now. So who knows? They might win 3 out of 4, depending on how they go towards the back end of the year.
Yeah, what was it like in the 2017 season? Of course, you didn't get to play in the grand final, but what was it like watching the Tigers, of course, break that premiership drought? It must have been special.
Yeah, it was. It's funny. I just finished reading Bob Murphy's book, Leather Soul, it's called, and he speaks of his time in 2016 when Bulldogs made the grand final and he wasn't a part of it. And I felt very similar. It's, you spend the whole year supporting and helping, and then the day before you start to get all these thoughts through your head going, bugger, I wish I was there. I wish I was a part of it. And then I joined in as an unofficial emergency as in the day before playing. So there's three proper emergencies, and then I was an unofficial one in case a big key defender went injured. And then you got all these emotions going through your head. But as soon as the ball got bounced and then started to kick the first goal of the game, and then when you know it's going to happen, it's just it was an unbelievable feeling. Although myself and there might have been 22, 23 other players on the list that weren't a part of that day, we all did what we had to do throughout the year. We got to the VFL Grand Final, which I know if we didn't make finals or bummed out in the early stages of the finals in the VFL, that things potentially would have been different. But it was unbelievable, and so happy that got to be a part of the first year of it. And now it's just as good just watching on from the sidelines now, just seeing them go from strength to strength.
Yeah, they definitely are one of the greatest AFL teams in the current era. Who do you think will win the 2020 AFL Premiership, Jake?
I got no idea, mate. I don't think anyone has any idea, and if they do, well, then they're just lying and hoping that they get lucky. But yeah, I've gone from thinking Western Bulldogs were going to win it 2 or 3 weeks ago to Port Adelaide to now Geelong are the favourites. I don't know, to be honest. It would be a pure guess, and who knows? I'll say Geelong just because they're going the best at the moment. But we all know other teams are flying. You got West Coast who are just getting better and better as we go as well. And it might depend on where the grand final is. It might be in Adelaide. It might be in Queensland. It might be in Perth. So who knows? It could be a Brisbane, Port Adelaide, or West Coast, depending on where it is, which might come down to a bit of luck. But we'll that's what makes the season great, mate. You don't really know who's going to win. It's hard for my tipping competition because I get 9 one week and then down to 4 or 3 the next week. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting season. So, of course, unfortunately, you were delisted at the end of the 2017 season. What was it like when you were delisted, and how were you told? I played, so in that 17 season, I played in round 8 against Fremantle. That was my one game. And I remember, I didn't play very well. And then I got dropped for that next game against GWS. That was the infamous game where
GWS, Shea Bolton kicked a point that he thought was a goal, and then they set up, it hit the post or it was touched, and then they set up and they went from their kick in and kicked all the way to the goal. Jeremy Cameron took the ball and then turned around and bombed one from 55. So that was that game that I missed. I got dropped for that game, and I knew 25, 26-year-old, only played one game, comes in, gets dropped the next week. Probably not looking great for the end of the year. So I'm a realist, so I knew I changed my mindset a little bit going into the second half of the year, just doing whatever I can for the VFL team and help Craig McRae get some success as well. And then towards the end of the year, it was actually after the year, I went in for hip surgery and was in the club. It might have been 2 or 3 weeks after the grand final. So things had quietened down a bit, went to the club, started to do some weights, and I got a call from, it was either Dimmer or Blair Hartley, who's a list management officer. I can't remember who it was, but one of them said, "Are you at the club?" And I regrettably said yes. I should have just said, "No, I'm away. Sorry, mate," and just avoided them for a couple of weeks and hoped that they forgot. But said yes, walked up to their office, and they were both in there. And yeah, they just said, we're going to go a different way. My gut, as I'm speaking right now, still churns a little bit. Like it still hurts, no matter whether it's a 300 gamer that wins 4 premierships and gets told we're going to go a different direction, or if it's me that's had 7 years and had the career that I had. I don't think it would matter for anyone getting told that we don't want you anymore and we're going to go down a different path. That was pretty hard to take. But I was a realist. I knew it was probably coming, but you can't really prepare for that, I don't think. So yeah, that was tough going through that. I went out for lunch straight away with a couple of mates after that kind of took my mind away from it. Then there was a couple of plans potentially go somewhere else, but that fell through as well. So it was a busy couple of weeks, and disappointing, but it is what it is. I'm glad that if it had to happen, it was after 2017 and what we achieved as a footy club. That's for sure.
Yeah, you, of course, that would have been a difficult time in your career. But then, of course, you went on to be a coach in the VFL. So how have you been spending the isolation and COVID-19 lockdown period, and what have you been doing?
Yeah, it's definitely been a bit of a tricky one. So I got stood down. Everyone got stood down. Yeah, whenever it was, end of March, middle of April, whatever it was. And then when the rules came back that you could bring back a certain amount of people, I wasn't one of those. So I've obviously just been at home in Frankston with my partner, and I've been doing some casual work with my father-in-law, building fences over the last probably 2-3 months. I've also just got a new position as a casual disability support worker, which is something that, I'm extremely passionate about, and I feel is similar to coaching. You're just helping people and supporting them in any way that you can. So I've got that to keep me busy now. I've started running, I've started cycling, I've started reading a little bit. A lot of it's just about keeping the mind busy and just not sitting on the couch watching TV every minute of every day. So we're almost halfway through this new 6-week lockdown, I think, and I hope. But yeah, I'm missing my golf, mate. If I could, if there was some laws where it would allow you to go play golf once a week, I think it'd be a lot easier down in Melbourne for a lot of people. But it is what it is. The numbers seem to be going down a little bit, which is good. The deaths aren't getting any better, which sucks. But it seems like we're kind of tracking in the right direction. So it's there's good stuff on the horizon. How are you going with it all?
Yeah, I'm going well. It's, of course, definitely been difficult with the VFL and VFLW seasons being cancelled, because I am a play-by-play commentator for the VFL, so I haven't been able to commentate this year. But it has been difficult, but hopefully we will get out of it soon. So, of course, you got to play alongside some of the great AFL players. Who would have been the greatest opposition AFL player that you got to play against, and why?
Yeah, it probably has to be Buddy. I played against him a couple of times, and you're just in awe of him. You stand next to him, and you're running next to him, and then 2 seconds later, he's got 5 meters on you or 10 meters on you. Yeah, he can do stuff that no one else can do. It's quite disappointing that he's been injured for this year, and external talks that, oh, will he make it back, or is this his year or whatever? But no, he's a superstar, and hopefully you can get a couple more years out of him, because I know the Swans would be loving him right now, as with the rest of the AFL. But yeah, he was great, and it was almost even better to watch the battles of him versus Rancy, going at each other, two of the best of their positions ever. Yeah, that was good to watch as well. So yeah, Buddy for me.
Yeah, Buddy Franklin definitely is one of the greatest forwards in the AFL. So, of course, you also got to play alongside Dustin Martin. What was it like playing alongside Dustin Martin? And I could imagine, what is he like as a person, Jake?
Yeah, it was just as good watching Dusty. It was just a 6-foot version of Buddy, pretty much, just 6 inches shorter, but do the same things. Just wins the ball, and yeah, what sets him apart is his ability to get in and out of traffic, and then drive away, rather than just get in and out of traffic and kick the ball as far as he can straight away. He's got the ability to step around 2 or 3 people and then just find a teammate, whether it's with a handball in space or whether it is a kicking target. He just one of the best at making the right decisions at the right time. It was unbelievable to watch. And he's from the years that I spent with him, he was a lovely, shy guy. He's portrayed in the media as a certain person, which I think is getting better, because he's a bit more out there and does a few more interviews, and people finally get to know him. But he's always been a great role model. He always does everything the right way. Yeah, he stuffed up a couple of times in his career, but if you don't, you're not really being yourself, I don't think. I think he's had to learn, and he's a star, mate.
Yeah, he definitely is one of the greats of the AFL, and it is human if you make mistakes. What would have been the worst injury that you would have suffered in your AFL career, and why?
I had, there's probably a couple. In my career, I had 2 shoulder surgeries and 3 hip surgeries. The hips were just out of wear and tear, so they weren't really injuries such. They were debilitating, just wear and tear stuff. But I've had a couple of shoulder injuries. I kept popping out my shoulder in 2017. And although every time it popped out and went back in, or subluxed or whatever it wasn't the worst pain in the world, but it was just that I knew it was going to happen every week. Trying to get mentally around that I've taped it up, I've strapped it up, yeah, I'm good to go. And then as soon as you get a knock in a certain way, it just goes. Then you go sit on the bench for 5 minutes, and then you're good to go again. And then 10 minutes later, it might happen again. So that was frustrating, because the physical side was okay, you get used to it, but just the mental side of, oh God, here we go again, this is going to happen. But the main one for me, I had a terrible back. My back was crap from day one. So I was injections every couple of weeks on average, probably for my back, whether it was into a facet joint or if it was an epidural or something like that. I had a couple of them over my career. I dare say a lot of players in the AFL would say their back injuries are probably the worst. Same with the shoulder. It doesn't get to excruciating levels for some, and for some people it might, but it's just the wear and tear of it, and then the constant pain and stiffness and what comes with that. But it's okay. Looking back on it now, I'm okay now. It took a couple of years, I reckon, to get the body back to half decent. So, I'm in a good space now. I don't have too many issues now. As long as I can swing a golf club, that's all I really worry about, mate.
Yeah, back injuries definitely seem like they would be tough. Of course, Jade Gresham from St Kilda is currently battling a back injury. Have you got in touch with Jade to help him through his injury rehabilitation?
No, I haven't, mate. I've dealt with one person that I used to play football with that had a stress injury in their back, and yeah, they're not great. I'm not too sure to what extent Gresham's is, but yeah, dare say that the way that the spine works, it's just every step, every run, every jump, everything just goes through and loads the spine. So he's in pretty good hands with the docs and the physio and all the medical support staff at Saints. They're unbelievable there. So no, it's not great for Saints fans, and fingers crossed he can get back soonish. But at the end of the day, it's not worth it if it's going to turn into something more. Especially with backs, I don't think you can take the risk. Pardon me, you can take the risks on them. So yeah, fingers crossed. But like I said, he's got great support with him, and they'll put him in the right direction and get him back when he can.
Yeah, that definitely. Back injuries definitely are not any fun by the sounds of it. So just one question finally. Who did you barrack for in the AFL when you were growing up, and who do you still barrack for in the AFL currently?
Yeah, so I went for North Melbourne. So I was born in 1992. So at the age when you need to pick a team, maybe 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, North Melbourne were winning premierships, and Wayne Carey was the best player in the comp, and yeah, so I was a North Melbourne fan. I wasn't a massive fan, like I didn't go to every single game or anything like that. But if someone said, "Who do you go for?" and it was North Melbourne. So Glenn Archer, I loved Wayne Carey, I loved Jess Sinclair because of his hair at the time. But now it's I go for St Kilda and I go for my mates at Richmond. So if it was Saints versus Richmond game, I want Saints to win, but I want my mates to have a good game. So yeah, lucky that's only once a year, and it's already been maybe another one in the finals. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows how or whether St Kilda will play Richmond in the finals. Do you think that St Kilda will go deep into the finals this year, and are they a chance for the premiership, Jake?
Yeah, it's a good question, mate. I don't see why not. Had a couple of tough losses early on, learnt from them, then built some really good form. I think it's hard to, like I said earlier, I think it's hard to guess who's going to win because this season is just so different. Like who new teams are going to have to play off 3 or 4 or 5 day breaks and back it up and do the same again. Yeah, it's about who can stay connected through this, who can not get, or who can stay on the park as well. That's the main thing as well. If we can stay injury free and we can play our best footy or close to our best footy, especially when it counts, yeah, then there's no reason why we can't. There's probably 14, 15 teams that I think that can. So we've seen in the last couple of years, it's who can get to the finals and then who can play their best footy when it's important. We saw it in 2016 with Bulldogs, played really good towards the back end of the year. Saw it Richmond and then West Coast and then Richmond again. So if you can keep getting wins on the board and whilst playing some decent footy and who knows, maybe even a loss just to give you something to learn from as well, and then go from there. But yeah, no, it would be great for the people of Moorabbin and Bayside if what's it been? It's been probably nearly 60, probably 55, 60 years since we won our first and only. So yeah, number 2 would be really nice to hold that up at the end of the year.
Yeah, hopefully for yourself and all the St Kilda fans out there, they can win a premiership in the next couple of years. So thank you very much, Jake, for your time on the Footy with Fletch podcast. It has been great to have you as a guest, and all the best.
Thanks for having me, Fletch. I really appreciate it, and hope you get a couple more interviewees through this tough period, mate.
Thank you very much. Goodbye for now.
Thanks, Fletch.
Thank you for your company, and I hope that you enjoyed listening to episode 8 of the Footy with Fletch podcast. Thank you very much again to Jake Batchelor for being a great guest. Stay tuned for episode 9 of the Footy with Fletch podcast. Bye for now.